Hello, everyone. Welcome back to FixColab BTS. As usual, the host for today's show is always me. There's not gonna be anyone else. And together with me, Hakim. So both of us gonna talk about something exciting that was just recently announced by one of the biggest IT giant in the world. What is it, Hakim? Would you like to do the honor?
Yeah. So recently, what I mean by recently, last week, Microsoft has officially announced the arrival of Windows 11, which is gonna be replacing our Windows 10
11.
soon.
Windows 11, guys. Windows 11, dude. Wait, how long has it been since we had this OS, Windows operating system update? The last time was Windows 7, and that was 2000 what? 2007?
9?
How?
I forgot already.
And then we have Windows 8. Was it Windows 8?
Yeah.
Vista. No.
Wait.
Vista first.
We have.
Okay, let's go back into time. What was the first Windows?
Yeah. So, the recent topic about Windows 11 very exciting, and let's have a look at the history of Windows itself, right? So the first Windows is, if I'm not mistaken, early days doesn't really have much of naming. We just call Windows 1.0, I would say today, and it was released on November 6, 1985. So if we calculate that, it's around 45 years old, 45 years ago. Am I correct? 1985. Am I correct, Leeroy? Is that
1985, 2021, 1985, guys?
Right. Help us. It's 45 years old, right? Is it correct?
46.
26, right?
46.
So 46. Windows, from the first version of Windows until now, we have Windows 11. It's already been 45 years. If you're born when the first Windows come out, you're already 45. You already past your middle age crisis already. So that's how long Windows have been existed and have been part of our life, especially today, especially the past 2 decades. It's really being part of our daily life, right? So that's the first Windows. And then we have, I don't really remember Windows 2. Windows 2 is basically a bit of improvement on top of, so Windows, Windows 1 is basic, again?
Okay, all right. So there's Windows 1 and Windows 2 actually.
Okay. There is actually, but it's not really, so basically Windows 1 is actually just before Windows, Microsoft have what we call a Microsoft DOS. For those who still remember what the Microsoft DOS is, all right. So basically, Windows 1 is actually a Microsoft DOS, but it being layered on with UI. So that's the first Windows. It's basically still a DOS operating system, but it just have a UI layer that is look like the Windows, right? So that's the first Windows, and then we have Windows 2. Not really significant. Windows 2 doesn't have really significant effect. The another significant Windows is the next significant Windows is Windows 3 and Windows 3.1. All right. So that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's where we have multiple windows and everything, and also colors, if I'm not mistaken. And then we have, let me think. I don't really remember. Do we have really Windows 4, Windows 5? Is it? Wait. Then we go to the OG Windows 95. I don't know how many of us do. 95.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it the 95th version or 1995?
It's not 95. It's just the name is just Windows 95 because it's launched in 1995. So you can call this, that technically can be Windows 4, something like that. I'm not really sure the sequence, but basically there's a sequence after 3.1. And then we have the improvement, a little bit of improvement in Windows 98. there's nothing much on the UI. It's just a few improvement into system stability. And then we have, okay, there's a lot of Windows in this 2000 era. So we have Millennium Edition, Windows Me. We have Windows 2K. We have, so it was released around the same time. So it's basically a repackage of like the same operating system. I don't really remember because I still like how much how old I am at that time.
Kids.
Yeah, so I mean I doesn't even know what is computer yet back then, but roughly we have a few operating system. It's kind of similar but the different packages. That we have Me, we have 2K. I forgot there's another version. I forgot already. Yeah, so that's basically the what happened in 2000, and then after that we have another OG operating system. I think this is when I think me and Leroy, when we are, I think first operating system that being introduced to us. I think most people today, especially in our age, Windows XP, right? So Windows XP. So it's the first Windows that really took the world by storm. Really, like, I think if I'm not mistaken, the market share is like 90% during the Windows XP era for operating system in the computer. So it's a huge success. Windows XP is really huge success, and yeah, it's just a very good. Back then, it's really good. We got really beautiful, colorful, and really, I mean, it's a predecessor of the current, not current, the modern operating system that we have today. So it's really look really good, and then remember the blue bar and the green start button, and the I don't know what the place called is, the green field with the blue sky wallpaper. Yeah, that's from Windows XP, right? So it's really big. And really big deal for Microsoft. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was released in 2003, right? So that's Windows XP. And then in 2005 or 2006, if I'm not mistaken, we have Windows Vista. So Windows Vista, for those who remember, is a big UI interface changes. Before that, we only have a blue bar, really big blue bar, but now we have a glossy looks, really like shining things. So Windows Vista back then, if I'm around 2015, 2016, and then in 2000, then but the thing about Windows Vista is that there's few technical thing about Windows Vista is people consider it as a flop Windows. Windows is kind of like not really successful as XP. There's a huge part of it is because the computer back then doesn't really it's not a computer, it's basically the operating system a little bit ahead of its time, that it require a lot of new hardware to make sure that it runs smoothly. So a lot of people complain that it doesn't run smoothly with their current computer when they upgrade from XP to Vista. So it's kind of have a resistance on Vista, because if I'm not mistaken, Vista is among the first Windows that start from, not start like, basically Windows XP will also have a 64-bit, but I think Windows Vista is really built up to fit with 64-bit computer. So there's a lot of resistance there, and people with lower RAM will have a much more not quality experience. So that's a little bit taking off a Windows Vista. I mean, Windows Vista by itself is not really bad computer system, but just maybe it's not on the right time, so it doesn't really go through it. Because based on my experience, because I remember to go to Windows XP and then Windows Vista doesn't really, I don't know, my experience at least what I remember, not really a problem for me. Vista. So I'm not really sure where the where the hit about Windows Vista, but yeah, that's what people consider. And then we have, I mean, I would say the most, I think the best, next best to Windows XP is Windows 7, right? Windows 7, also one of the Hall of Fame in Windows version. It's very, basically it's taking what Microsoft have learned from Windows Vista and improve it and giving them back the looks and feel of Windows XP, but in terms of a little bit of a mix of Windows Vista glossy and transparent, what Microsoft called back then, they say aero style. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's a Windows 7, and really successful version. And right, is one of the few besides Windows XP that really taking off the world by storm. Right? What time it was released? I doesn't really remember. Is it 2011, something like that? I'm not sure. Maybe you need to check back the fact. And then we
Um,
have Windows 8. Okay, this one's
yeah.
going to be a controversial. I mean, it's kind of the situation is kind of similar to Windows Vista.
Vista.
Situation is that it's a little bit ahead of itself, or Microsoft is just taking way too forward that it doesn't really resonate with its user. So for those who remember
Serious.
what's Windows 8, it's Windows 8, or for those who remember 8.1 as well, right? So it's basically
Yeah.
bringing a new interface, really different from Windows 7, similar to what Windows Vista and Windows XP situation. So it's try to accommodate to a touch first devices, but then it doesn't really
Mm.
works well with non-touch devices. So we have a new start menu that I would say be unfamiliar. It's really out of league. It's really different, totally different. It's taking people off, and from that experience, then also they have a bit of mismatch in terms of the UI interface. There's a little bit of like Metro style. We have they call this flat when
Mm.
Windows is the first Windows that Microsoft bringing all the flat icon. It's more like Xbox kind of thing, right? So it's basically it's kind of also the first attempt of Microsoft try to unify their operating system from the Xbox to their phone. For those who remember Windows Phone, yeah, it's basically try to
Oh,
bring
yeah.
the similar interface to all their operating system across all devices,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really work on desktop at the time. So it really doesn't go well. I think it's what in 2013
It was
like that. I don't remember, or maybe
13.
earlier.
No,
Hold
no,
on,
no, no.
is it?
I think it's earlier. I remember it was released, Windows 8 was released together with the first Surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, around
Yeah.
2011, 12 like that. I don't remember
Yeah,
because I
yeah, yeah.
remember joining the beta version because I mean already go into an operating system by then. So I think a year before it's released, it already have a beta version. So I already grabbed the beta and give it a try by myself. So yeah, I think around that time. I think I'm still in school that time.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, we
still at
were.
school that time. Yeah.
I
So it
had
probably
Surface One. It
yeah,
was
2012 like that. Yeah, 2012 like that lah.
11,
11, 12
12
or
like that, like
something like
yeah.
that. Yeah. And then a few years after that, 2015. I remember this because I really I was waiting during the announcement. I really sit down
Yeah,
and wait for it. They will announce Windows 10 that we all of us are using right now. Without we
yeah.
realizing Windows 10 is already like 6 years old. So wow, that's still a long that's a long
Six,
for a Windows version, right?
six.
So Windows 10, there's a lot of people are
Yeah,
using Windows 10 right now. Windows 10, what happened is the same similar situation that Windows 7 tried to face. So it's basically trying to fix what happened is Windows 8 and 8.1. It's trying to consolidate the design back, try to make it more familiar. They bring back the start menu. So in Windows 8, they remove the start menu and people really hate it. So in Windows 10, they
yeah,
bring it back and giving people with the same experience as we experienced in Windows 7. So because back then during the Windows 8 era, not a lot of people upgrading to it because they don't comfortable with it. And then after Windows 10 release, and then a lot of people migrating from Windows 7 to Windows 10, right? So Windows 10 again, it's also same approach that Microsoft tried to do, like try to consolidate their OS together. They also that at that time they introduced this UWP, Universal Windows Platform, which is basically you create one
mhm,
app for Windows, for Xbox, for Windows Phone, right? So also back then Windows Phone
mhm.
10 also come out, Windows 10 for phone, and also Xbox is much more looks like Windows 10. So that's right. Basically, Microsoft tried to unify the ecosystem of operating system. right? So at the moment, that is the glory of Windows, is that Windows 10 is I would say the best as for now in terms of performance, in terms of usability. So far, I have no complaints so far for Windows 10,
Windows
right?
10 is
Right. And then what happened is, okay, because suddenly, okay, not suddenly, it's actually, so why Windows 11 is big fast? Because back then, what Microsoft say that Windows 10 should be the last version of Windows, that they will continue updating Windows 10 as a service, instead of like, okay, you have to purchase a new operating system, and then upgrade your operating system. So okay, maybe for those who are new that doesn't remember, back in the days, if you want to upgrade your operating system, you have to buy the operating system. You cannot simply just upgrade your operating system. You have to, okay, if you are in Windows XP, if you want to upgrade to Windows Vista, you have to buy Windows Vista license, and then you can install in your computer. But today, because what happened in Windows 8, with Microsoft giving people free upgrade to Windows 10, even if you are in Windows 7, you can get a free upgrade straight away to the Windows 10 without even pay for anything, without even pay for licensing. It's a free upgrade of operating system to everyone. And that's why when Microsoft mentioned that it's gonna be the last Windows ever back in the days, so people doesn't expect that we will have a new version of Windows. But then recently, I think last month, a leak come out, Windows 11 leak. So this is before before last week. This is before the official announcement of Windows 11. So there's a leak of the operating system itself, and a lot of tech reviewers are giving a review, and it bring a new changes. It's completely different to what we have in Windows 10. It's also looks and interface overhaul as well. And yeah, so but as for now, there's not much information, not much detail, because Windows 11, even though it's already announced, it's not officially out. It's still in beta testing. If you are interested, you can join through Insider program. If you want to look for Insider program, you can look into your setting in Windows, try to join the Insider program. Then you can get to upgrade your Windows 10 to Windows 11. But be aware, if you are in the Insider program, there will be a bug in the operating system. So if you're willing to deal with the bug, a bit of inconvenience, you can give it a try. You can get it right now, but I'm not encouraging if you are not really into technology sort of thing. If you just want to get things done, I don't encourage you to upgrade now. Just wait. I think, if I'm not mistaken, until August, something like that. August it will be officially out. Then everyone can get Windows 11, and it will be a free upgrade from Windows 10. So don't worry if you already have Windows 10. But there are a few caveats, but I think we will discuss it later. So basically that's the chronicle from 45 or 46 years old ago. 46 years ago, right? 46 years ago. So from Windows 1, now we have Windows 11. Okay.
Over the span of 46 years.
Yeah.
So, like, how was the operating system back then? Okay, maybe you forgot to touch here, like what is exactly on an operating system? What is that?
Great question. So I think we just make it simplify. Operating system is basically the software that going to communicate with your computer. Okay, so imagine your computer. All right, you have your hard disk, you have your CPU, you have your motherboard and everything, all the hardware, right? And this hardware doesn't really interact with your software. Let's say you have Microsoft Office, Word, Excel, Chrome. They are not directly communicate with the hardware in the fundamental level, not in the binary bit, in 1 or 0. No, they have to go through. First, we have this what we call the first layer. Okay, first we have the hardware, and the first layer we have kernel. So kernel is the layer where is communicating with your hardware in the binary bits, in the machine language, right? So kernel is the area where it's translated from a programming language to a hardware language or a machine language. And then on top of kernel, that's where we have operating system. So operating system is the one that gives you the desktop, give you the wallpaper, give you the windows for you to operate, start menu. Yeah. So that's the operating. So you can imagine operating system as a platform that serves you, that allow you to run the program that you want to run in your computer. So what happened is that, okay, you have to understand that kernel doesn't really give you the interface. Kernel doesn't have start menu. Kernel doesn't have desktop, doesn't have wallpaper whatsoever. Kernel is just a communication layer between your operating system and your hardware. And your operating system is the one that gives you the Windows start menu, giving you the notification, giving you the internet access, how to click on the Wi-Fi and which one to enter password with, which one is public Wi-Fi. That's your OS. And then on top of for your OS, where you install your software. Either it's a Chrome, either it's a Firefox, either it's Microsoft Office, Excel, Word, or what I kind of SolidWorks, AutoCAD.
SolidCAD.
Yeah. So all this software run on top of the operating system. Without the operating system, this software cannot run on the computer. So that's why if you want to have Microsoft Office for Mac, for example, right? For Apple computer, you have to buy the Mac version. Even if you buy the Windows version, you cannot install it on Mac because it's a different platform. It's a different OS. Even though and that's why you have to buy a different version for different operating system. So it's basically, you can imagine operating system as, okay, so your hardware is your LAN. Let's say you have a house. Okay, your hardware is the LAN, kernel is your foundation, and operating system is your house. Okay, and then your application is your appliance, and you are the user. So you can see it in that analogy that, okay, without the house, you cannot just put your appliance in the foundation of your house. So you can, that's the analogy to make it simple. Yeah, that's operating system. And then just to share a few operating system, probably a few people doesn't really realize that there's a few operating system around us. So like for today's topic is we have Windows, which is created by Microsoft. And then if you are using Apple devices, we have Mac OS, or back in the days it's called Macintosh. I don't know if anyone remember that. And then we also have, on the mobile side, we have Android. Oh yeah, also don't forget Linux. Linux also operating system that not a lot of consumers know about it, unless you're an IT worker or a developer. You're probably familiar with Linux. So I think we will touch on the difference later on. And then we have also, on iPhone, we have iOS. And then on iPad, recently they split up into iPad OS as well. So there's a lot of operating system around us. And for those who are using Chromebook, we also have Chrome OS. So it's different operating system and different platform. So that's, I think we can cover 7, 8 operating system that really prominent in our life today. So yeah, there's a few mention of operating system OS that we have around us today.
That's so like, why do you think Windows is so which OS do you think right now has the biggest market share?
It depends on what market you're talking about. Okay,
Consumers.
so if you are talking about personal computer, PC, personal computer market, Windows certainly have the biggest market size. If I'm not mistaken, right now is around more than 80%, something like that. 80%, right? 80% or 70%, something like that. And then the rest we have, I think, Mac OS have around like 11-ish or 12-ish, and the rest is other operating system. That's if we are talking in terms of like personal computer, a computer. If we are talking about mobile phone, we have 2 big giants, Android and iOS, which is Google and Apple. So Android have, if I'm not mistaken, I also don't really remember. I think it's more like 90% above like that. And iOS is like probably lower than 10. I'm not really sure the actual number, but it's around that figure. So Android really dominant in that space. But then if you go to enterprise level of computer, server, supercomputer, there's only one king. From the beginning until today, we only have Linux. Linux, consumer doesn't really have much exposure on Linux, but today, every day what you do, everything have things to do with Linux. Even right now, we are using Zoom. The server probably run on Linux, right? Even if you are using Android phone, or even if you are using iOS phone, if you are using your app, for example, Instagram, all the data probably hosted on the server also probably run on Linux. Not probably, most likely 99% will be Linux, run on Linux. So that's how dominant of Linux in server. We do have a server, Windows-based server, but it's not as prominent as Linux. The reason being, that's a really interesting case, because among all the operating system that I mentioned earlier, we have Mac OS, we have Windows, we have Android, iOS, and what else we have? iPad OS, right? So Linux and Android is the two operating system that is open source. That means everyone can get a copy of it, can modify it, and can make operating system by their own. So that's what happened to Android. You look at every manufacturer have their own version of Android, right? So basically, because Android is free and open source, that means you can grab the source code and modify it and make it your own. Similar to Linux, the core is free. You can grab and you can create your own version of Linux. That's why in Linux we have what we call flavor or distro. So basically a different version of Linux. So we have big one like Ubuntu, if you ever heard about that. We have CentOS, we have Arc OS, we have Fedora, we have Red Hat. There's a bunch actually. That's too much version of our Linux operating system. We have Pop OS that specialize on gaming on Linux. So there's huge market for Linux. The reason is because it's open source and it's free basically. So for profit driven, using a free operating system is going to really reduce your cost. And a lot of this operating system is maintained by developer that already that really commit to maintain the project. And if I'm not mistaken, probably in 1995, I think Linux is I think already like 25 years old, is it? I'm sure it's quite long already. So it's founded by Linus Torvalds. If you ever heard about him, Linus Torvalds. Yeah. So he are the founder of Linux. He is the one that created the first version of Linux. And then from there, it's just taking off. People are contributing, people are modifying, updating. You know, it's become it's not just it's the biggest open source project in the world. That's Linux. It's the biggest biggest operating system that have a lot of people contributing for free, and then it's just built for free. Yeah, so that's that's a big gist about how our operating market is all about. Operating system market.
A bit sad, like Apple. Where are you? But yeah, I mean, everyone have their own preferences.
Correct.
Right? And there's no doubt Windows 10 is one of the best Windows stuff. It's one of the best Windows. Been using Windows 10 for so long until I got a Mac. And then, yeah, there's no doubt Windows 10 is really, really good. In fact, on my Mac, I have a, what do you call that? Parallax.
Parallax.
So I can run Windows 10 on my Mac as well as Mac OS. That's how useful Windows 10 is, even for me, for a Mac user. Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the pro and cons of Macs and Windows.
No, 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 no. We're not gonna talk about that right now. We just want to focus on the
Yeah.
one that is, on the one that's been getting the spotlight recently. So
Yeah.
yeah, Microsoft announcing Windows 11. So what would be the new thing? Okay, like it all started like the big ones like Windows, what do you call it? Windows XP, and then after Windows XP we have Windows. Uh,
Vista.
Vista was a flop. I remember I hated
Yep.
it. Not that I hated it. It was still usable, but I didn't like it at all.
Mm.
And then after Vista, then we have Windows 7.
Yep.
Right? And then 8 is a huge. I hate to use this word, but it's a huge disappointment.
I would say yes.
For me, yeah, it was. I was. I'm not sure, but back then when I was playing with the Surface One, really felt like Surface One was after 2 3 years, I think, yeah, after 2 3 years can no longer use Surface One anymore. That thing was just obsolete in just less than 5 years. And then we have Windows 10.
We're done.
Next, Windows 11. So like, is Microsoft gonna repeat this cycle or what? What's gonna be the
Okay.
new thing here? How is
So
Microsoft doing
people
this?
people are calling it a Windows curse. Essentially, again,
Yeah,
success flop. So would Windows 11 break the
the
the curse?
curse. Yeah, so that is the question now. Like, man, it's after 6 years, dude.
Yeah.
After 6 years. After 6 years, is it gonna flop or what? So yeah, like what's gonna be different?
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, certainly, okay. It's not for certainly, but I'm sure Microsoft learned from their previous mistake. Hopefully, they learn
Mm-hmm.
from it. If not, we're gonna have the same thing repeat over and over again, right? They
Yeah.
already have this cycle, what, twice already, twice or thrice, I forgot already.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Twice.
so hopefully they
Twice,
learn from
yeah.
it and break the curse with Windows 11. But interesting part is about Windows 11 is there's not much changes actually if you look at Windows 11. So actually what you're gonna find is Windows 11 is basically, if you look at the deeper look at it, is more or less it's still a, okay, probably just oversimplified looking at it, but what I'm trying to say is the changes that we have, comparison of Windows 10 to Windows 11 compared to what we have from Windows 7 to 8.
7.
Right? So if you compare these two, it's not under the hood, it doesn't really much different in terms of like between Windows 10 and Windows 11 compared to the changes that we have from Windows 7 to Windows 8. The reason I'm saying this is because the changes for Windows 11 is more or less is more on the interface, more on the new UI, and more on a little bit of accessibility. Of course, there is a technical improvement because it doesn't still have the whole detail about the full release, because we still have a beta version only. We don't have a full version of it, and most of the features that are being introduced is more into convenience and more into accessibility kind of thing, right? As for now, based on the details that we have at the moment. So technically, Microsoft doesn't have necessarily need to announce a new version of Windows. Doesn't have to be a Windows 11. You can just announce maybe Windows 10 update. I don't know, new update version or something like that. What they make previously on Windows 10. So for those who are not familiar, Windows 10 actually a few update that actually changes the operating system. In the foundation, we have a Redstone, if I'm not mistaken, back there. And then we have few name. I forgot there's a name code basically. So there's a name code for a new for big update for Windows 10. It's actually happened twice a year. but not a lot of people do
Twice a year.
aware of it, because doesn't really matter because the look and feel stay similar. But this time is the looks is really different, and Microsoft try to bring a new fresh face into Windows operating system, right? So when you mention about whether it's going to break the curse or not, frankly speaking, we doesn't know. But most likely, if you ask me personally, how I'm going to look into this, is because there is what's going to happen to Windows 11. Most likely is just a little bit of upgrade on Windows 10 rather than a new version, really huge step up. It doesn't it's not really a huge jump compared to Windows 7 to Windows 8. It's not a huge jump. So probably it won't be flop because it's not a huge jump. It's just a small step in terms of a tweak here and there, and a new face, a new interface. So most likely it won't be flop, unless there's something flaw that really user hate, then it might be flop. But as for now, the only thing I can see possibility that Windows 11 might be flop is in terms of right now, there's also a lot of people complaining that their computer is not upgradable to Windows 11. The reason be because Windows 11 have this quite a strict requirement for the installation. So it's require you to have a dedicated encryption chip for security, and then also you need to enable secure boot, which for a lot of people doesn't really understand what these two thing is. So so Microsoft have this software that you can run on your computer to check whether your Windows whether your computer is can be upgraded to Windows 11 or not, whether it's compatible or not. So a lot of people see that their computer is not upgradable, and because of this requirement. But again, this requirement might be changes depend on the situation. Microsoft might lower the requirement so that a lot of people can be upgraded to Windows 11. But again, you have to remember that this strict requirement is for security reason and for better experience actually. So secure boot to make sure that there is no hard code, malicious code that can be booted into your computer, and encryption chip is we call TPM. I'm almost say TPM is basically a chip that ensure your computer is not compromised in the sense basically to the hardware level. So it's basically like antivirus in the hardware level. So if your laptop or your computer doesn't have the chip, you might not be able to install Windows 11. It's similar to, I forgot what Apple corresponding with it. I forgot, is it
what does it?
If I'm not mistaken, Apple also have a similar chip. I forgot what it's called, T1 or something like that. I forgot T1 or T2. What the chip name? It's basically a security chip, basically. So if your computer doesn't have it, Windows 10 might not be able to. You might not be able to install Windows 11. But yeah, but this one is very variable because of can easily change the requirement, and but again, it's in terms of compromisation between security and getting people to upgrade to your new operating system. Yeah, so it might not be fun. It might not. Most likely.
So Windows 11, meaning that we have to buy a more powerful laptop or PC. Maybe.
It could be because what happened back in the days in Windows 10, right? So Windows 10 is Microsoft really boosted up by saying, okay, Windows 10 should be able to run in all hardware. But in Windows 11, they doesn't really boost it out. What I mean by doesn't really saying, okay, Windows 11 should be able to run to any devices or any hardware. So it could be they have higher requirement for you to upgrade to Windows 11. But yeah, again, maybe they will optimize for lower end devices. I'm not sure because back in the days, we Microsoft. I mean, I think the objective today, not today, but actually right now, the Microsoft intention is to make sure when they launch Windows 11,
People.
they can get as many people to upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11, because that's where they can offer them a whole new experience and the best of Microsoft experience, rather than Windows 10. And for those who are thinking of using Windows 10, even though after Windows 11 come out, you have until 2025 before Microsoft and the support for Windows 10. So we have 4 more years. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So basically now we know that Microsoft is basically giving Windows 11 like 4 years run before confirm that okay, Windows 10 we don't need it anymore.
Basically they are saying, okay, so after 2025 they won't helping you with Windows 10 anymore. So if there is a
So they're
new
forcing everyone.
virus, yeah, so basically 2025, whether you like it or not, you have to use Windows 11.
So guys, get it now. Do your own.
October, if I'm not mistaken, it's October. You can upgrade your computer in October. Don't worry.
Yeah. So Windows 11 is more on the look, the design, the look.
I would say
UI,
that's the
UX.
first thing. Yeah. Yeah.
UI, UX. And then in terms of technical, yeah, I guess like you said, we have limited information.
At the moment, yeah.
We only have the leak information, like everyone can look it up as well. Right. Yeah. And then I have this also one information where it says Android apps are also ready for Windows 11. What does that mean? What do you mean? Like
Okay, that's another big new things in Windows 11, that Android app will be able to run on Windows 11 natively. That means you doesn't have to, basically you can just install, if you are familiar with Android app, APK file straight away into your Windows 11. All right, I think before we go to that, right, so for those who are not really familiar with tech news, probably there's something big, but actually the same thing, not actually the same thing. Back in the days, during the first launch of Windows 10, actually Microsoft also attempt the same thing. Actually, this attempt of bringing Android app into Windows is a not new thing. It's actually have been attempt when Microsoft launched Windows 10 actually, but this time is a bit different compared to what happened back in the days. So what happened during the Windows 10? What Microsoft do is basically that saying to developer that they can port their existing Android app using tools that Microsoft already designed. That they can take their APK file, or if both for Android and iOS. Okay, so basically they can take the existing code that they already create for iOS and Android. They use the special tools that Microsoft already provided. They have to do some modification in terms of line. So basically Microsoft was saying that, okay, to developer, you doesn't have to change all your code, you just need to change a few here and there, and then you can put your app in Windows platform. What they call is UWP, Unified Windows Platform, right? So that's what happened. That's what Microsoft attempt during the Windows 10 launch, is basically attempt to get more app into Windows 10 ecosystem. But the problem is that developer doesn't really buy the incentive that Microsoft try to put, is basically because they still have to modify the code, even though it's much more easier compared to rewrite everything for Windows 10. But it doesn't really, it's not a successful program, right? So it's kind of flop, the program, but not a lot of people are talking about it actually. So when Microsoft launched Windows 11, and this time, instead of saying to developer that they have to change their code, even though a little bit, instead this time it's being supported natively. That means there's no need to change the code, bring the file as it is, as an APK file, and it will run on Windows 11. Right? I'm not sure whether it's a simulation or emulation, It could be simulation, it could be emulation. So that's we doesn't really know how to do, because the current beta version out doesn't have these features yet, so we cannot have more detail on it. But based on the presentation last week, so there's there's a few nuance to this actually. So in the presentation of Windows 11 last week, what happened is actually you can get Android app into Windows 11 from Microsoft Store, but through Amazon Store. Okay. Okay. So it sounds okay. Okay. So usually what you're gonna expect is that you go to Microsoft Store.
Okay.
And then you can download the file, right? You can install the app, for example. That's the normal expectation. But what happened right now, what Microsoft are pushing in Windows 11, that yes, you can get the app from Microsoft Store, okay? But it need to go through Amazon Store. So basically, you have to basically when you want to get Android app through Microsoft Store, you have to sign in using your Microsoft account, and then you need to find the app. And this app is because it's hosted in Amazon Store, so you have to sign into your Amazon account first, and then you can install the app in your computer. But this is only for the first time. So basically, once you've done that, you can just search everything like normal what you expect. But actually, what happened is basically Microsoft are collaborating with Amazon. So Amazon App Store will provide all the app. But in exchange for that, the user need to sign in for Amazon account as well in the Microsoft Store. So a big mess here, but that's an attempt. But it's not the only way you can get Android app into Windows 11. You can just download the APK and you can still install it without using through any store. Like normal, if you have Android app, you can download the APK and you can straight away install it. It still work, what we call side loading. So it still work like that.
So these Android apps will be hosted on Amazon.
Correct.
And
so for those who are not aware, Amazon have their own Android app store. So that's where it's coming from.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that at all. I didn't know.
Yeah.
This is like my first time seeing these three words, Amazon app store. This is the first time. Interesting. So when was it launched? Like I don't think a lot of people know this. Right,
Amazon App Store. I think
it's not only me, right?
I think a long time already. I think back in Windows 11, it's already there. So Amazon, let me.
Windows 11, Windows 11. Windows 11 gonna be here soon.
Yeah, it was launched in. Yeah, it's already 10 years old. Amazon App Store is already 10 years old. It's launched in 2011. So it's not a new. Yeah, it's been long time being around, but not a lot of people using it.
Yeah, even
unless if you are Kindle user, yeah, you might use it.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Even for me, Microsoft Store, I don't really find it very easy to use, even now.
Correct.
Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 10, yeah.
Yeah, Microsoft tried to fix that.
Yeah, and by working with Amazon, so why not just work with Google right away?
Interesting question. Right. So I think probably this is more or less on the business decision. I'm not really sure what is the actual reason behind it, because if you look at it, that yes, it's the best Microsoft can work directly with Google to get access to Google Play Store, right? But I think it's more in terms of the questioning of that, the controlling of the ecosystem. So if Google collaborating with Microsoft in this regard, right? So what happened? It will dilute the Android market itself. What it means is that, how should I put it? Is that if Microsoft able to tap into Google Market, Google App Market, Google Play Store, is what going to happen is that it's gonna have more access, more. It will open up a new ecosystem to Microsoft. It's gonna really huge benefit to Windows 11, but on Google side doesn't really have much benefit to them. Is what will happen is that is one side is more profitable, is more beneficial on Microsoft side rather than the Google side. Google. And if they open that, it's gonna bring more people to Microsoft rather than to Google product itself. And you also have to remember that Google also own Chrome OS, and Chrome OS also can run Android app natively. So if they open up to that, so basically Windows will compete with Chrome OS head to head. So basically what the collaboration with Amazon is also going to bring the Windows 11 head to head with Chrome OS with the ability to run Android app as well. And also going to take the market from Android market as well.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, there's some legit sense concern on that. Yeah, like you said earlier, Microsoft market share is like how much? 80%, 70%?
In terms of PC, right? I think if I'm not mistaken, around 80%, something like that.
Yeah, and imagine if just everyone can download Android apps on their PC just like that. I mean, everyone is working from home. Everyone is on their PCs, on their laptop. Yeah, phone is phone. But yeah, like, yeah, that's true. I believe if they do that, some market share of Google, which is not within the personal computers market, will be affected, even though they're not in that particular market.
Correct.
They will be affected in the only market that they have.
Correct.
The only market that they conquer. Yeah. Okay. But Amazon. Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm not sure. I've never tried. I've never seen. This is in fact my first time. So I guess if Amazon's app store is good, then I think I believe it should be better than Microsoft Store itself right now. For people to be able to use Microsoft Store. It has to.
You have to. If they want to make it a success, you have to.
Yeah, that's right. And then also I hear some I mean I received some information that some of the Apple applications can be also installed on Windows. In fact, Apple also announced that FaceTime will be available on Android, and Android will be available on Windows 11. So what is this? Is Microsoft planning on something bigger? Or what? Or is this just a pure coincidence?
Okay, I think we can see this the new direction that Microsoft are moving forward. Since the new leadership of Satya Nadella, right, the current CEO of Microsoft. So the new emphasis of Microsoft, what they're trying to do instead of back in the days, right, between the rivalry between the tech power, especially from Apple and Windows, the idea is, you have to grab your user to your ecosystem, right? But after the new leadership changes, what did Microsoft become is they are become, instead of more focusing on to get people to their platform, instead their philosophy is that doesn't matter where the user is, either they're on Mac, either they're on Chrome, either they're on Android, we bring the software to them. That's their, I would say, current philosophy. Instead of resisting, okay, we only provide this in our platform, we won't provide on other platform. If they want to use our software, they have to come to our platform. That's what we are seeing with Apple and Mac OS. If you want to use their software, you have to come to their platform. You have to enter their ecosystem.
That's right.
Okay, back in the days, Microsoft also like that, right? Back in the days, Even Mac doesn't have Office. Microsoft Office.
Yeah.
So, but then uh, Microsoft also create an Office app for Mac version, right? So,
that's right.
so after the new leadership in Microsoft, the approach is doesn't matter where the user is, either they are using our platform or not, we're gonna bring the software to them. Microsoft Office, Microsoft OneDrive, all the Microsoft service, we try to put in every other platform, doesn't matter. And when you mention about FaceTime, right? So FaceTime, I think there's a bit of difference there. What happened in FaceTime with the recent announcement from Apple? What Apple do is for the FaceTime is they are not exactly porting FaceTime app into Android.
To Android.
What they actually do is giving non-Apple user ability to use FaceTime, but it's only available in web browser. So this is what we call web app, or PWA, progressive web app. So basically what happened is, let's say if you have an Apple friend, Apple friend, that sounds so weird. So I have a friend that using iPhone. Yeah, if friend that using iPhone and they want to FaceTime with you, so you doesn't have to install FaceTime in your Android. It's not even available in the store. So instead, they can send you a link, and you open the link, and it will give you access to the meeting or FaceTime, right? And so basically, that's what is. And the funny thing is actually, right? Is a web app, right? So it's basically what the Android user are receiving is just a web app, access to a web app version of FaceTime, not a native app. And the funny thing is the first iOS, right, actually it was meant to run web app instead of native iOS app. That's what Steve Jobs vision. But he quickly realized that web app at the time when iPhone was released 2007, 2008, web technology is not powerful enough to serve all the functionality. So in the end of the day, they have to create native app version of iOS. But yeah, that's funny thing. Actually, Steve Jobs actually vision iOS to run web app. That means you just have to install. You just open the website. You can use the app. So that's the vision. But yeah, because of the technicality issue, we unable they unable to do that. But then now what happened is that they giving the web functionality to the Android user to have the functionality of FaceTime, or if you even open the link from Windows devices, you can also still join the FaceTime.
Yeah, this made me realize that Microsoft is really, I think Microsoft is the first to take that approach of their philosophy where they want their experience to be available on any platforms. Yeah, like you said, Mac has Microsoft Office, PowerPoint, Windows, OneNote, and all stuff. And then now slowly we're seeing Apple is finally taking that step. Finally, like, want to collaborate or be, So like, what do you think? This new Windows OS, what kind of opportunity or what kind of potential does it bring? I mean, Windows 11, we can get Android apps. Maybe we can also get Apple or iOS punya apps. So yeah, like, what opportunity does this bring? Windows 11, exactly.
And yeah, actually, okay, I think we can look into this. This is also part of a Microsoft philosophy that, okay, we're gonna try to bring our software to the user, regardless of their platform, regardless of their operating system. And at the same time, also what the new move in Windows 11 are doing is basically, and even the recent, even what happened in Windows 10 is that you doesn't have to buy a new Windows. You can just upgrade for free.
Upgrade, yeah.
Right? if you remember back in the days, you have to pay, I think from like 300 something for Windows new version of Windows. Let's say if you're from FP, you want to upgrade to Vista, you have to pay. And then if you want to upgrade from Vista to 7, you have to pay. All right. But now you can upgrade for free. And the idea is here that what Microsoft tried to do is try to bring people to their platform as many as possible for free. That's why back in the days, they also push really hard on Windows 10, giving people for free upgrade. You can get free Windows 10 for free, whether you are Windows 8 or Windows 8.1 or Windows 7. Even until Windows 7, you can get free upgrade to Windows 10. The reason B is that they want to get people into the platform, to Windows, so that they can offer their services. Okay, so what I mean by their services is like Microsoft Office. Microsoft Office back in the days used to be one of purchases, right? We have to Microsoft Office 2013. Remember that? Microsoft Office 2015, 17. What else? I forgot already. And then
a lot
of version, right?
Now
a lot of version. Then
now is what?
The latest one is Office 365, which is a subscription based. Which is subscription based. It's not one of purchase anymore. So it's a service for offered by Microsoft. It's become a service. So what Microsoft doing right now is get as many people to use Windows 11, and in order for these people, this user, to get the full experience of Windows 11, they need to use the services that being integrated into Windows 11. So, for example, if you want to have the best experience of gaming in Windows 11, for example, Xbox Game Pass, you can get subscription Game Pass where you can have access to hundreds of collection of games by just paying subscription monthly. You doesn't have to buy each of game one by one. You can just pay monthly subscription and you can have access to 100 of game. And this one is really deeply integrated into Windows 11. So that if you want the best, much more easier, much more best experience gaming in Windows 11, Xbox is the way to choose. Even though you have an option to use Steam or other game platform, but if you want to have the best experience for Windows 11, Xbox Game Pass. And then if you want to have the best productivity app that work really well with Windows 11, for example, in Windows 10, we have OneDrive folder, right? Which is really integrated to OneDrive services. So if you, of course, OneDrive is free for, I don't know, 5 gig or 15 gig like that. And then if you want to have bigger size, you have to subscribe, right? So the idea here is that Microsoft tried to get many people to Windows 11, and they can use it for free. But if they want to have the full experience of Windows 11, they have to subscribe all the service that Microsoft have been integrated. And let's, for example, like Windows 11, the new features is they have integrated Microsoft Teams in the Windows 11 itself. So that means if basically if you want to make a video call in Windows 11 without installing anything, the one that come with Windows 11 integrated to the call to the Windows 11, you have Microsoft Teams. So you have to use Microsoft Office and Microsoft account. So the idea is basically just to get people into your platform so that they can have more people you can get in the platform, more possibility people will use your services. Basically, okay, you imagine that we have a stadium, have a game, right? If we can get many people into the game, all your vendor service that you offer, like the food, the drinks, the more people coming to the stadium, more possibility that people gonna buy from the vendor, right? So you can imagine that Windows 11 is the stadium, and the vendor is all the services that Microsoft offered, and you can imagine the game is basically what the Microsoft, the hype that Microsoft tried to create around Windows 11, so that more people coming to the stadium, more people are gonna go to the vendor and buy item or purchase food, purchase drinks. So that's the idea. They try to play the what's it, numbers game, so to say. So basically, what happened is, I think this is what also you see in a lot of tech company, that they're more lean into services right now. Even if you look at Apple, I think last year, is it? They launched the game subscription as well. Fitness Plus,
Arcade.
News Plus, right? Arcade, arcade. A lot of subscription-based product compared to back in the days, you're just selling hardware, right? So that's, I think, the direction of a lot of tech company right now. They are more focusing, try to get people to subscribe to their services rather than buying their product. So that's what also happened to Apple. That's what happened to Microsoft at the moment. And also that's the direction that Google have been doing as well. So in the future, that we might see a lot of subscription around us.
Everything we have to subscribe.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, guys, be ready. All of our money is gonna be gone. But yeah, I mean, it's natural. It's way easier for subscription compared to you have to pay one big lump sum.
Correct.
Yeah, once in a lifetime, but once in a lifetime, that thing that you paid for once in a lifetime not gonna last you once, and not gonna last you for a lifetime.
Especially in tech.
So yeah,
Thing really can
especially
really fast.
Yeah, like Windows 8. I think 2 years gone. Yeah. So yeah. So there's just a lot of other things, features that we still need to wait for Microsoft to really announce the release. I mean they announced June 24th, but still limited information, huh?
Correct. I mean there might be. There might be.
Yeah.
Because
are you are you in the beta version? Are you exploring that?
Yeah, I haven't explored the beta version yet. But because I think at the current one that the beta version is still, it's not the same that what Microsoft show in their announcement, because they still doesn't have the Android native support yet. So I think I will wait until the beta version that have the Android support. Then I think I will try to try to give it a try to the beta version, because that's much more interesting. Right, at the moment, it's more on if you join it beta right now, the version is not the same that what Microsoft announced. It's not the full features yet. But I think if you are trying right now, the few things that I think we can mention here first is the looks, right? So
yeah,
the biggest thing that people are gonna see is the start menu will gonna be at the center. So if you are using Mac, if you are using Chrome OS, a lot of you might be familiar that the icon in the center, even the start menu in the center as well. So it's no longer in the right bottom. Now everything in the center. Beside the time and date will be on the left side, still on the left side. But that's the first thing, you're gonna be in the center, and then when you press start, the start menu is totally different that we have familiar. There's no all program. I mean, okay, back then we familiar. Okay, we have my computer, picture, video, and then all program. Then we have this. You click on all programs, right? So now what they have is in Windows 10 we have these styles, what we call the square, that is basically a legacy from Windows 8, right? Legacy from Windows 8, the square metro style. Legacy. Yeah, I would say it's legacy. And then now, when you open the start menu, the top half is similar to Android launcher. You can see icon, and then you can see the name of the app. That's it. And then you also have all program or all app. You click and you see all the list of program, but it looks like Android launcher. It's like, okay, you have icon and you have title, and then everything is placed in grid. No longer have a list, like list down, no more. There's no folder whatsoever. So it's just like Android launcher, and the bottom half, they have this recommendation, which is basically your recent file, either maybe your recent Microsoft Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneDrive file, whatever. So that's what I mean by if you want to have a full experience of Windows 11, you have to use Microsoft services. So that's part of it. So the recommendation is really works well with Microsoft product. So if you want to utilize that features on Windows 11, you have to use a lot of Microsoft services. And I think that's the biggest thing from the face value. That's the first thing that you can expect. And then also right now the corner is already rounded, it's no longer sharp. Okay, and then also a little bit like glossy, like what Mac are doing, like the we'll call it the
I see
a bit of blur, or I don't know, Gaussian blur like
blur
that.
gradient.
Yeah, blur gradient. So a little bit, and the icon also different. So the icon also like a flat, but it's have a gradient as well. So also similar to the direction of Mac.
Shadow.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's Big Sur. Yeah, something like what Big Sur. The difference between before Big Sur, Mojave, right? So the different icon from
before Big Sur
Mojave to Big Sur. That kind of similar changes in the icon as well. What else? We also have this Snap group that, you know, when you open Microsoft, right? Windows or Windows, multiple Windows, and then you can drag it to the left, to the bottom right, bottom left, top left, top right, right? So now usually, okay, when you already arrange it, then if you move, when you close, then you have to open each one of it one by one. Then you have to arrange back. Now they have what called the Snap group or group Snap, that once you arrange it, you can lock it as one instant. So let's say if you want to open the layout back, the arrangement back, you can just click on one instant and it will, everything is arranged as you arranged before.
So yeah, I guess we've talked already very enough on Windows 11 with whatever information that we have, right? So can't wait for it to be released. I am definitely looking forward. Probably, yeah. The thing is, my house, no one is using Windows.
Oh, really?
Everyone is on Mac. So how are we gonna test Windows? That's the thing. Never mind.
Okay. I mean, you can come over. We have both. We have both Windows and Mac here. Funny enough, I'm using Mac right now.
Or maybe Hakim, you can do a team viewer session. Never mind, we'll see.
we can figure it out. Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being generous with your time. You know, everything about Windows 11. This is what we got so far. If you guys have any other information that is interesting that no one knows, or you guys have access to insiders inside with Microsoft, do share with us. Share in the comment, subscribe us, like this video, and goodbye, everyone. Ciao.